Hello, in this video training of PHP functions, we will be learning about PHP functions. The real power of PHP comes from its functions. PHP has more than 1000 built-in functions, and in addition you can create your own custom functions. PHP has over 1000 built-in that can be called directly from within a script to perform a specific task. Besides the built-in PHP functions, it is possible to create your own functions. A function is a block of statements that can be used repeatedly in a program. A function will not execute automatically when a page loads. A function will be executed by a call to the function. A user-defined function declaration starts with the word function. So the syntax is simple. You start with the keyword function and then you type in the function name, and within the braces and curly brackets you enter the code to be executed. Note that a function name must start with the letter or an underscore. Function names are not case sensitive. Give the function a name that reflects what the function does. Let's create a function named writeMSD. The opening curly brace indicates the beginning of the function code and the closing curly brace indicates the end of the function. The function outputs hello world. To call the function, just write its name followed by brackets. Let's write this program and let's call it writeMSD. writeMSD.php. Start the PHP tag and let's write this function and write MSD. Here we say echo hello world, and beneath this call we call this function. Save the file and let's run it in the browser. Host R&D PHP courses, and here we have this file writeMSD and it says hello world. So this is our simple function that just displays hello world to the user. Now let's learn about PHP function arguments. Information can be passed to functions through arguments. An argument is just like a variable. Arguments are specified after the function name inside the parenthesis. You can add as many arguments as you want. Just separate them with a comma. The following example has a function with one argument, that is fname. When the family name function is called, we also pass along a name, for example Jenny, and the name is used inside the function, which outputs several different first names but an equal last name. So this is the example of using function arguments. Let's write this program. Going to create a new file for this, and I'm going to say function args.php. Let's write the function. Function is family name, and we are receiving fname as a parameter that we assume is a family name. We are going to echo fname refness, and let's add a line break here, and let's call this function multiple times to see the output. Okay, Jenny, and then we have each, and then we have stale, Jim, Borge, function args. Okay, function args.php. You see the family name function is returning each family name along with last name that we added here within the function, that is refness. So that's how PHP function arguments work at a very basic level. Now let's add some amendments to our current function, and I'm going to add a second argument, that is year, and this function will receive a second parameter, that is year, and I'm going to say first name refness, and I'm going to say born in year. And when we are calling this function, we just need to pass in the family name and the year as well, 1975, and then we have 1978 and 1983. Save the file, run the program again. You see we have the different output as we modified our program to receive a second parameter, that is an year, and we also modified the output of our function to add in the year preceded by born in. So we have Kai Jim Refsnes born in 1983 and so on. So you can add as many arguments as you want in the function. PHP is a loosely typed language. In the example above, notice that we did not have to tell PHP which data type is the variable is. PHP automatically associates a data type to the variable depending on its value. Since the data types are not set in a strict sense, you can do things like adding a string to an integer without causing an error. In PHP 7, type declarations were added. This gives us an option to specify the expected data type when declaring a function, and by adding the strict declaration, it will throw a fatal error if the data type mismatches. In the following example, we try to send both a number and a string to the function without using strict. Let's look at this simple example. We are creating a function that adds two numbers, and we are receiving two parameters, and we are explicitly mentioning the data type along with the parameter variable. So this is the data type int and $a and then int $b, and then we are returning the sum of these two variables. And when we are going to call this function, we are going to say 5, 5 days. Since strict is not enabled, 5 days is changed to integer 5 and it will return 10. So let's look at this example. I'm going to create a new file for this function, loosetype.php, and I'm going to say function add numbers, integer a and int $a and int $b, and I'm going to return a sum of these two variables. And now I'm going to call this function add numbers, and I'm going to pass the first parameter as an integer and the second as a string saying 5 days. Okay, let's save this program and run the program. Function loosetype.php, function loosetype.php. See, we have got 10 as an output because PHP automatically converted this string into integer and it automatically typecasted it into integer because strict mode is disabled. To specify strict, we need to set declare strict types equal 1. This must be on the very first line of the PHP file. In the following example, we try to send both a number and a string to the function, but here we have added the strict declaration. Okay, let's modify the same program. I'm going to add statement declare, and I'm going to say strict types equal 1, and let's run the same file in the browser. You see, this time we have got a 500 error because the strict type is enabled. It rejected the string that we passed as a second parameter. If I change the string to an integer and run the program again, see, I've got 10 because the strict type allowed only integers as an input. Okay, the following example shows how to use a default parameter. If we call the function setHeight without arguments, it takes the default value as argument. So I'm going to create a new file to demonstrate this function, and it is default value.php. Okay, let's declare strict types equal 1, function set height int min height equals 50, and I'm going to print out the height is min height, and I'm going to break it. Okay, and let's call this function set height equal to 350. Okay, what if I don't give any value in the argument? So what will happen is PHP will pick this 50 as a default parameter, function parameter and function argument, and use 50 in the string here. So this is called default argument value. Let's run this program. Function default value. Okay, let's run this program, and it is function default value, function default value.php, and you see the first string is the height is 350 and the second one is the height is 50. Even if we didn't pass an argument in the setHeight function, it automatically picked up the default argument and embedded it into the string. So that's how PHP default argument values work. Okay, to let a function return a value, use the return statement. Okay, what we are going to do is we are going to create a function sum. Let's create a file for this. PHP, you can say return value.php. Okay, and I'm going to create a function sum which receives two arguments, integer $a and okay, let's call it x as we have in our presentation, y. Okay, and we create another variable z, and we get the sum of $x and $y and keep it in $z and return the value of z. Now let's run our program and call this function equals and say sum 510. Okay, I'm going to copy this 3 times and change the values 7, 13, 7, 13, and then we have 2 plus 4, and here we have 2 plus 4, and that's it. Let's run this program. Function return value.php. Function return value.php, and you can see the results here. So this return keyword basically return the results as an output from the function. PHP 7 also supports type declarations for the return statement. Like with the type declaration for function arguments, by enabling the strict requirement, it will throw a fatal error on a type mismatch. To declare a type for the function return, add a colon and the type right before the opening curly bracket when declaring the function. In the following example, we specify the return type for the function. Okay, here you can see we are going to use return type declaration. In this example, we are going to return a float here, and let's create a file for this. Function return type declaration.php and okay, I'm going to say declare strict types (1), say function add numbers, float $a and float $b, and I'm going to say float, and we are going to return $a plus $b. Okay, now let's call this function add numbers and pass in two floats, 1.2 and 5.2 as a parameter. Save this file. Let's run it in the browser. Function return type declaration.php. Function return type declaration.php. See, we have got 6.4 as a output. Okay, now let's try a different thing. You can specify a different return type than the argument types, but make sure the return is the correct type. So I'm going to modify this program a bit, and I'm going to change float into integer, and I'm going to return the result and typecast it into integer. Okay, and going to use the same arguments. Let's run this program. See, we have got 6 as an output because we have typecasted float into integer and then returned the output. Okay, in PHP, arguments are usually passed by value, which means that a copy of the value is used in the function and the variable that was passed in the function cannot be changed. When a function argument is passed by reference, changes to the argument also change the variable that was passed in. To turn a function argument into a reference, the AND operator is used. Let's see an example to pass by reference argument to update a variable. Okay, let's create a file for this. Function argument by reference.php. Okay, let's create a function called add5 and receive a value by reference. You see, I have added ampersand in front of the variable parameter we are receiving, and I'm going to add 5 into this number, and let's say we have a number 2, and I call this function add5, and I'm passing this number here, and let's echo this number. Let's run this program in the browser. Function argument by reference dot php. You see we have 7 as an output because we have used passing argument by reference, and the add5 function have modified the original variable instead of the copy. If I have used it without reference, let's see the result now. You see we have got 2 because we didn't use it as a reference and it returned another thing. So if I used by reference, it modified the original variable instead of the copy. So this was all about PHP functions. I hope that you have learned and understood the basic concept of functions and how to use them in PHP. If you have liked this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you next time with a new topic in PHP.